Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is compare a couple of Nissan SUVs. Now on the one side we have the 25 Nissan Rogue, and on the other side I have the new 25 Nissan Murano. So we'll look at the interiors, exteriors, some of the trim level specifics, and see which one might just be perfect for you. Let's start our comparison by looking at the 25 Nissan Rogue. Now the one I have here today is going to be the Platinum trim level with the all-wheel drive. Now there is about 5 different trim levels you can choose from, so there is a good price variance when looking at the 25 Rogue. Now there wasn't a lot of huge changes for the 25 model, those came a few years ago, but the Platinum is going to be very similar in terms of what specs and technology you can get when looking at the Murano in the SL trim level. Now there's a few different trim levels when looking at the Murano, so we'll cover that in a little bit, but this Rogue is a pretty cool little machine. Now all of the Nissan Rogue models come with the same engine. It's a 1.3 liter inline 3-cylinder turbocharged motor. So it's a pretty unique little engine, and this is going to be paired with a CVT transmission. Now with the front wheel drive or the all-wheel drive, this one again, like I said, with the all-wheel drive, fuel economy can change a few MPGs. You're looking at 35 MPG on the highway and about 28 in the city with the all-wheel drive. So it goes up from there, which is pretty impressive of a vehicle of this size. Now this one being the Platinum is going to get a little bit different wheel and kind of some different trim on the exterior. This charcoal gray matched with some of the black accenting lets you know that it is the Platinum model, as well as these really cool 19-inch wheels. So this one also does get a power liftgate out back. So you simply click the button on the key fob, or out back you can click on the tailgate there, or it's a motion activated. So swinging your foot underneath with the key in your pocket opens it up. So if you've got the kids, you've got the groceries, that is a pretty cool feature offered on the Platinum. Now a few other things on the exterior you'll notice up front, this one does have Nissan's kind of V-motion grille. So with the chrome accenting around here, it's a really sharp looking vehicle. This one also gets the roof racks, and you notice the crossbars up above. So if you're into those outdoor activities like mountain biking or kayaking, the Nissan Rogue with the all-wheel drive and lots of space is a pretty cool and capable machine. Now speaking of space on the inside, this one does have a 60/40 split rear seat. So if you want to kick those down, there's these convenient little handles in the back, and that does give you a pretty large cargo area. Now it's kind of hard to show on camera, but there is also a load level changing floor. So you can add about an extra inch or two to the floor in the back if you need a little bit of extra room. So there's some pretty cool features, whether it's storage, safety, or technology in the 25 Rogue. Now before we dig too much into the interior, let's hop over, we'll look at the outside of that 25 Murano. Now hopping over to the Murano, this is the SL all-wheel drive trim. So there's about 3 different trim levels when looking at the Murano. There is a Platinum similar to the Rogue, but for the comparison's sake, I wanted to keep a very similar MSRP price. So this particular Murano, like I said, with the all-wheel drive, this one does have a 2-liter turbocharged engine, and it's going to be paired with a 9-speed automatic. So there's a CVT in the Rogue, 9-speed in this one, and this particular one for fuel economy, you're looking at about 27 MPG on the highway. So the Rogue is definitely going to get the better possible fuel economy when looking between the two. Now another thing that's pretty cool on the Murano, you can also do this on the Rogue, but there's a 2-tone paint option. So it's really great with this metallic blue color. You can actually split the roof to show it being black. It looks really sharp on some of the lighter colors, but I think it works very well, especially with these cool 20-inch wheels. It's kind of a silver and black finish to it, but overall it's a very sharp looking vehicle. Now the Murano was redesigned for this year after a pretty long run in the old gen, and there's a lot of huge changes, but most of that stuff is going to be on the inside. But similar to the Rogue, this one will also have the power liftgate. It's got those convenient handles in the back, and this one also has a tire mobility kit underneath with the Bose sound system subwoofer. So you get a little bit of underfloor storage, but overall, with those seats down, this one will be a little bit larger vehicle, giving you a little bit more interior storage volume. Now the front end design is going to be a little bit different from Nissan's design language, kind of going this way more in the future. You may think it looks more like the Kicks and some of the other upcoming models to the Nissan lineup. These cool LED lights. I love that it's got the Murano up front there, and you also are going to have parking sensors all the way around this vehicle on the SL all-wheel drive trim. There's a lot of similarities between these two models, and again, they are very similarly priced. But for now, let's hop back over to the Nissan Rogue. We'll check out the interior on that one. Okay, so behind the wheel of the Rogue Platinum, the first thing you absolutely notice is this really cool kind of peanut butter colored interior. It works very nicely with kind of the 2-tone with the black and the charcoal gray exterior. This would definitely be the way I would like to option one. Now, why do I have my phone with me? That's because we've got wireless charging down here, as well as wireless Apple CarPlay, as well as Android Auto. Now, this infotainment screen is awesome. It is one of the best out right now, I think. It's got Google Assistant built into it. Amazon Alexa is also built into here. If you're using your CarPlay, it works very seamlessly with your phone. You're not messing with it when you're on the go. And I love that it gives you your text messaging, Google Maps, Spotify, and this will be the same infotainment screen found in the Nissan Murano. Now on the other side here, we also have the digital gauge cluster. So this is really cool. It's a very simple to use system. It doesn't take you weeks to figure out how to use all these infotainment screens. This one is simply just one button on the left of the steering wheel here. You can go through, keep track of all your pertinent information. You can even pull up the maps in here. So using Google Assistant, I can say Walser Nissan Burnsville. It's gonna take me there. It will give me turn-by-turn directions on my infotainment display here, which I love, so I can keep my CarPlay up on this side. It just works so well, and the screen is actually very responsive too, which I can absolutely appreciate. Now this Platinum will also get a heads-up display, so that'll show you some of your adaptive cruise control stuff, your miles per hour. It's a very bright LED up there. That is pretty cool, and something you can kind of toggle on or off if you want to use it. Now from behind the wheel here, some of the safety stuff, 25 Nissan Rogue Platinums are gonna have Nissan ProPilot 2.1. So there's this little blue kind of car on the steering wheel here. When you turn that on, that's gonna show your blind spot monitoring, forward collision, lane departure warning. There's so much cool safety built into these vehicles. And one thing that's really nice on the left side of the steering wheel, you can just click that quick, go down to driver assistance, and you can change some of that stuff. You can turn it on or off if you don't want it. There's also a button over here on the left side of the dash. So that is a very convenient and easy way to stay safe behind the wheel. Now, if you've never used the adaptive cruise control before, both of these vehicles do have that safety feature. I love that. It's one of my favorite things to use, whether you're on a road trip or just cruising around town. That is really cool. Now, the layout for everything is very easy to use. Like I said, when you have the infotainment display here, you can click the camera button, and that's gonna pull up your full 360 view camera. So if you put it into reverse, you'll also have parking sensors in the digital cluster here, but I love how easy it is to see. Whether you're backing out of a busy grocery store, kids left something in the driveway, you can pull up the camera before you even go into reverse to see what's going on. Maybe you're getting a little close to something, look out front, out back, way cool, and just makes it so easy to stay safe in the car. Now these seats, I say it every time I get into Nissan, these are very comfortable. Only slightly outdone by the Nissan Murano, but these are going to be heated seats. We've also got the leather wrapped heated steering wheel in here, so you can remote start the vehicle. It will kick the heated seats on for you. I know it's about 85 degrees this morning, but when it gets cold and that winter comes back around, the remote start on the key fob and having the heated seats and steering wheel is definitely something you're gonna want. Now, from the driver's seat, this is absolutely where you want to be, but if you're in the second row, it's not that bad. I'm always very surprised at these Rogues at how much headroom I have back there. Even with the full panoramic sunroof up above, it doesn't cut down my headroom. Where I sit comfortably to drive at 6'1", I didn't move the seats in the back. I still have knee space back there and headroom. You could definitely put 4 adults comfortably in here. 5 might get a little bit tighter, but if you got the kids in the car seats, the doors swing pretty much all the way open. It's easy to load them up, and I love the space that you do get in these Nissan Rogues. And a little bit of storage space as well is always nice. So just even below the shifter here, because it is a shift-by-wire system, you free up a little space, whether that's for your purse or anything else you want to throw down here. Plenty of storage in the door pockets. There's just a lot of nice creature comforts and cool ways to use the Rogue day to day. Like the Bose sound system in here. It sounds good, and it makes such a difference if you're jamming out or listening to your podcast. That's a pretty cool upgrade. Now we have to touch on pricing. So the Nissan Rogue starts around that $30,000 price range, and we're gonna go up to about $42,000 or $43,000 when we're looking at the top tier Platinum. If you wanna get a little bit more off-road focused, you can look at the Rock Creek, or if you wanna take some equipment out, you're still getting the great ride and drive and fuel economy, plus all the technology and even the base model Rogues. I mean, there's things in here like memory seating and just all the ease of stuff that's in here. There's drive modes you can select. The cup holders are in a great space here, and I love the seated position in the vehicle. You don't feel like you're laying on the ground like some of the little crossover SUVs, but you're not way up in the air. It just seems very right and comfortable. Like I said, the seats are always some of the best in the Nissan models, so having comfort and technology definitely makes this a pretty great little machine. But let's hop over, we'll check out that 25 Murano. All right, now in the 25 Murano SL, again, I've got my cell phone with me because we are gonna have the wireless charging down here. And like I said, a very similar infotainment display. Wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, it's all gonna be the same, but the big difference is here, this is where you're going to control your heated seats up at the infotainment screen, and you've also got your heated steering wheel controls up here. So you can click that button, 3 levels of heated seats you can turn on or off, and then simply just click again, or it will kind of fade off the screen there. But you do also keep a physical button on the left over here for the heated steering wheel. Now this steering wheel is much more similar to something you'd find in the Nissan Ariya. It's kind of that 2-place steering wheel, but it's got all of these kind of touch sensitive buttons on here, which are really cool. It does still provide a click, but it does look really nice. Now on the right side of the steering wheel, you can scroll between either the left side of your screens or your right side of the screens. So you can program, if you pick the right, there'll be a little pop-up menu. You can go down to your CarPlay, your navigation, the Google Assistant, and then if you click back to the left, we're back to our digital gauge cluster here. So very kind of similar layout. You can look at all your pertinent information or bring up that kind of Google Maps. Again, you say Walser Nissan Burnsville, it will pull it up over here with the turn-by-turn directions. That is so cool, and it is so quick to respond that I really do like this system. Now the ProPilot system is also going to be found in here, so all the same safety features, blind spot monitoring, emergency braking, and the adaptive cruise control system. So that is definitely something to help keep you and your family safe when you're in the vehicle. Let's touch on the seats, because these feel like a lazy boy recliner. They are so comfortable. I always talk about how much I love the Nissan seats. They have to be some of my favorite out of most new cars that I get in today. These again are heated, but if you move up to the Platinum, they're also ventilated and they can be massaging. So if you're looking for the top tier comfort, definitely hop up to the Platinum Murano. That will give you one of the most comfortable seats out right now, but these are pretty amazing. And this is kind of the lighter interior, obviously. You can do a few different color options. The Platinum adds some diamond stitching into it as well, but there's a really cool kind of finish in here. It's kind of what looks like an aluminum, but it has sort of a yellow fade. It runs into the doors, onto the dash. It just looks like a very stylized and very futuristic interior. Now, speaking of futuristic, one thing that's pretty cool that I wasn't sure I was going to love right away is the climate control. So it does have a haptic feedback, so it's kind of hard to hear, but if I click, I just get a very soft click on here, and that would allow me to use the climate control. So if you're kicking it into auto, the fan speed, also you can click up here and use it still on the touch screen if you want, but it's just pretty cool and does add that kind of futuristic and cool style into the Murano. Now we also have USB-C charging down below, and then a little bit different drive mode select. So again, the shift-by-wire system that frees up the space underneath, but you've just got the push buttons here. And then same deal with the camera. So you can pull up the camera at any time. Front view kind of gives you the invisible hood view, which is really cool for seeing what's going on. So I love all the safety and tech built in between the Rogue and the Murano. Now, overall, this feels like a bigger vehicle because obviously it is, but when you're inside the vehicle, the dash is pretty large in here, but you kind of sit down more comfortably. It definitely is more luxurious feeling, where that feels more kind of day-to-day use. This feels more like an occasion vehicle almost, where you hop in, you feel comfortable, the AC is great, the seats are comfortable, and in the rear, you do get a little bit more room. So the SL, this one does offer the panoramic sunroof in here, and then in the back, those are also going to be really comfortable seats. Where the Rogue does get the heated seats, you'd have to go up to the Platinum model in the Murano to get the second row with the heated seats, but there is charging back there and vents. There's a lot of equipment, a lot of technology, a lot of style in these vehicles, and you know, we do again have to touch on the price of these. So if you're looking apples to apples with a Nissan Rogue Platinum, you're gonna have an MSRP around $47,000. That particular one has a little less equipment into it, so it's about $43,000. Then we jump over to the Murano and the SL. This one's gonna be about $49,000. So let's call it MSRP wise about $1,000 difference. With a few discounts in, there's maybe a couple $1,000 swing between the two, but this one is going to provide a little bit different things than the Rogue provides. I think if you're looking for day-to-day, maybe you got the kids, you're throwing them in, the Nissan Rogue might be the better option there. If you're maybe driving to your corporate job, you want a little more comfort, a little more style, I think the Murano does provide a little bit more of that feel to me. Feels like a little bit more grown-up version of the Rogue, if that makes sense. Just a little more comfort, a little more style on the exterior, but overall, I don't think there's a bad choice. If you want the added fuel economy and you want some of the stuff in the Rogue, you can certainly get that. This, you can even get more technology and more style, but being that the price is so close between the Rogue Platinum and the Murano SL, I think it's absolutely worth comparing. Get out, hop in the seat, pop the back, jump in that second row and see which one fits you and maybe your family best. Take them for a spin and see what you think. Because with Walser, you also get an 8-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. So you can be on the road for a long time not thinking about it and using both of these vehicles, whether it's your commute to work or maybe you're going on a road trip. I think there's a lot to like out of these awesome Nissan SUVs. Now that was just a quick comparison between the Nissan Rogue and the Nissan Murano. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.